evening, guys, and welcome back to another edition here on the NE Patriots Talk channel. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Thank you so much for taking this time to watch this unfortunate final preseason recap game, but so much more. We will get into that. It's your boys DTN, aka Dowie. We got Thomas. We got Austin here in the live stream. How are we boys doing?
Tired as hell, but I'm still alive again, like as always.
How about you, Austin? It's been a while.
Yeah, kind of excited to talk about Patriots football. It wasn't really a good game, so not looking forward to talking about everyone doing bad, but we have to as it's part of the job. So
yep, yeah. And you know what that means when everyone's going bad. This is gonna pop up.
Yeah, well, for me personally, I at least watched like I think the first half of the game, but then afterwards I had work, and the first 3 hours of work weren't like the best for me because I had some spills, I had some messes. It was hectic, but regardless, we're still here. At least I bounced back IRL, not in game, unfortunately, but let's talk about it. But as always, before we get started, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps us grow significantly. And throughout the show, please post in your questions and comments in the YouTube chat. And without further ado, let's get started with this unfortunate, brutal beatdown that the Giants laid on us. Granted that it's only the preseason.
Yep.
Typically, teams that do well in the preseason don't do well in the regular season. I can think of a couple teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars last season. They went 3-0 in the preseason, and then they fell on their faces and they fired their head coach. The Lions, when they went 4-0 in the preseason back in 2008, they went 0-16. So, what are your I'll start with you, Austin. Do you think the preseason means much, or it's just basically an evaluation of players who could potentially be fighting for a 53-man roster?
Yeah, I think with any game, you're always going into it trying to win, right? Regardless of the value of the game you're playing, preseason, regular season, playoffs. Bottom line, you want to win the game. Of course, with preseason, it is more about the evaluation, which is kind of the tone that I got from Vrabel. I mean, we sat nearly every single one of our starters, pretty much also the second strings too. I mean, besides Duggar and a few others, it just, I don't know, a bunch of no names basically, right?
Right.
To me, those types of games, especially this finale, was more of a depth evaluation, and you're trying to hit on those players that are just going to be rotating in and coming off the bench to give your starters a breather. But the important thing is finding those players that will make a difference or, won't cost you when they have to come onto the field.
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like I know fans tend to overreact and then just get all hype or have low expectations for certain teams. Like we saw this preseason, we saw Miami Dolphins doing well in the preseason, but they just overhyped they just won a preseason game, which I still don't understand. And then you have Bills fans who are being pessimistic after they lost 2 games to the Giants and the Bears. But Thomas, what do we say to all these fans who keep on hyping up over a preseason game instead of not focusing on the regular season? People focus on the box scores and whatnot.
Like what Austin said, the preseason is just about the evaluation on the depth of players. Hyping over I know that for example that when we watched that preseason game, week 1, when we faced Washington, that 48-18 slaughterhouse with the Henderson 100-yard touchdown, we don't overhype that. We watch the game, just see the evaluation of these players. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For fans who really hyping the preseason, bullshit. Yes.
It's ridiculous. I just feel like people nowadays they just value.
Like honestly, like do you want a cookie? That's what you get for winning a preseason this year. If you win 3-0 or 2-1, you win a damn cookie. Like when it comes to the regular season, you're fighting to make the playoffs, get a Vince Lombardi trophy, make legacy. Not focus on the preseason.
My biggest thing is it is still kind of like a building year, right? So I don't want all of the I don't want to say casual fans, but usually the people that are getting overhyped are the casuals. To be so high on this team just because of the preseason performance, and then come regular season, first sign of distraught or any bad play, they're throwing their arms up like, I'm out of here. Like that's my only thing with overhyping stuff is just.
I'll give you an example of a hype in here. Let's look at the Cowboys with Joe Milton, our former quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't understand current Patriots fans wanting Joe Milton and one saying getting rid of Joshua Dobbs because of his performance during the first 2 games. Granted that people don't understand that. Coaches don't open up their entire playbooks because if you do, teams will start to see what your game plan looks like. And it just shows that fans don't understand like what goes into like practice, what goes into like the training rooms, I would say, or the war rooms, I would say, to give it a sample. But let's break down this crap show of a game because oh my word, there's so many negative things about it. But let's start off with the team stats, and I'm just gonna start off with the penalties. You always have to start with the penalties because the first 2 games of the preseason, we had the fewest penalties against opposing teams. We had 3 penalties in the first game against the Commanders. The Commanders had 13 penalties. We had a little more penalties, like 5 penalties against the Vikings. But this game, Giants have 2 penalties than the Patriots. What does it say about the? I'll ask you this, Austin. What does it say about the team that has more penalties than the Giants?
Yeah, it's clearly just very undisciplined play right there. It showed, through preseason week 1 and week 2, those games, we were very poised. A lot of I wouldn't say we had a lot of starters, but at least second string and, the few drives that the starters were in, they were very poised. They understood the assignments, the scenarios, what they needed to do. We really kept those penalties under wrap. You kind of saw this past preseason game, a lot of our depth implode, like making silly, stupid mistakes. And, that's the difference between some of these guys making the team and some of these guys, not making the team and having to go work at Walmart, right? So,
or as Will Campbell alluded to, you have to working at Amazon if you allow a sack in every single game. But when we look at the a couple of the penalties that happened in the game, like the Javon Baker false start, that is not. That was a stupid mistake on his end. Then you have the Cole Strange holding call when we were in the red zone attempting to score and we kicked the field goal. I just didn't understand. I don't blame this on McDaniels. I blame on some of the players that were not disciplined, especially that you've been in, like, I'm going to say to Cole Strange, you were a former first-round player, granted that he was an overreach. You've been in this system for like 4 seasons now, and you make these kind of mistakes. These mistakes are going to get you cut immediately or benched. And I feel like Cole Strange is definitely one of my losers, and we'll definitely talk about winners and losers throughout the show. But people also need to realize some of these penalties are not the best, I would say, because in that game we had a first-year referee, and granted, sometimes first-year referees could be either boom or bust because some referees may be good, some referees might be bad. But I want to ask you this, Thomas. What is it How did you feel about having a first year referee refereeing this game, just in general?
Not against it here, honestly. It's like if they want to learn, like honestly, I don't know, man. Like I'm not against it here, but if there's like controversial penalties that really gonna trying to boil our blood, to boil our flesh and blood, then yeah, like the first year referee we had on that game, like some of them are questionable penalties, but some of them are like, nah, we'll live with it. But again, like we can't do anything about the false start penalties. Like it just might be a sudden reaction or yada yada yada. But we had to live with it.
Muted. As I was gonna say, yeah, having a first year referee is not gonna be like the best thing, but I think Austin's back. But I was gonna say, having a first year referee is not gonna be like the best route to go, because you may have some. The problem that I have with first year referees is the surrounding cast that you have around them, like the umpires, because sometimes they have zero clue of what they're doing. It's just like basically referees are having like a part-time job, and it's like, I don't know if there's like a referee school or anything officiating, but what I do like about this upcoming season compared to previous seasons, that we're using the metric system, like we're using like the official, like I don't know how to describe it, but like they're now using like the
it's like the AI technology for measurements, right?
Yeah, similar to how UFL is using, or XFL, whatever.
Yeah, which most people are complaining about it. Might be the most bullshit things that ever at this point, but I not ready to say that it's completely crap here. We'll give it a chance here. Right now, it is promising. Probably better than the chain game. Literally make controversial calls, yada yada. At this point.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it might even be, a good step in the direction for the game of football. My concern is this going to extend the time of games? Like, are we going to be sitting here? How they review everything half the time. I mean, is it going to be another thing where we're sitting there? They're like, You could look at it too, though, like baseball. They've been asking for years to just make umpires like automated and just have AI call the strike box. So
don't remind me about those ding darn umpires in baseball. It's completely horrific. I'm looking at you, Angel Hernandez.
Yeah, we don't know who that is, but let's now like head over to the game. But before we get into the offense and defense, there is one thing we want to discuss, and that is the kicker competition. We saw Andres Borgales missing another field goal, this time within the 37-yard range. How does it feel, Austin, that he missed that field goal, especially that is closer to the red zone?
Bottom line, it can't happen. He's got to, start showing up early and just practicing kicks and, getting more time in. We drafted you for a reason. We see you as being, the kicker of the future. We can't have you missing chip shot field goals, especially in, say games that are winding down to the wire and we need it to tie or we need it to go up a score. I mean, okay, well, if it was a 47-yard, it's still like 47 is the new 30 in the league. I don't know. I just want to see more practice, because at this point it's almost like I could see Parker Romo being the starter and maybe Borgales starting on the practice squad. Who knows? I mean, that's how tight the kicking competition is to me.
Yeah. I know that back in like the OTAs and mandatory minicamp, we thought that Borgales would like win the kicking job when we saw John Parker Romo like slipping a bit. But when it came to training camp, we saw John Parker Romo getting a lot better, Borgales getting slightly worse. It just shows how competitive the kicking competition is. But I agree that we drafted you for a reason. You were the first kicker we selected you, and you actually do it like this. Because we do not want another Chad Ryland situation where he was missing field goals. We do not want to see Joey Sly having like the best leg, and you miss these inaccurate kicks. It's like people are hammering. Why did we trade away Nick Folk to get a bust of a kicker? This is why because you're not gonna like get the next Adam Vinatieri or the next Steven Gostkowski. This is why you have like a kicker. There's a kicker competition for a reason, and I just feel like this is the second game in a row that Andres Borregales missed a field goal, and it actually says a lot on your records. Like, it doesn't matter how well you do in practice. Games, when it really matter, they really count, and I just feel like Andres Borregales needs to tighten up.
I mean, having a solid kicker is going to be the reason you make or break in the NFL. You look at all the top tier teams, they all have some of the best kickers in the league for a reason. I mean, even in the past, I think there was a point where a kicker won MVP because he put up most points in the season. Like, it's just people undervalue the kicker position, but quite honestly, like, we're not going to be a playoff team if we're going to be missing kicks.
Nelson is saying that the first miss wasn't on him, but at the same time, there needs to be some. I get it. The special teams got a lot better, but there has to be like some sort of communication, because not only we drafted a rookie kicker, we also drafted a rookie long snapper, because we did release Joe Cardona, as far as we know, and sometimes the communication is not in there, but. Granted that they're still learning. It's not like the end of the world. We shouldn't like overreact, but
yeah, it's not.
Go ahead, Thomas.
It's not the end of the world. Like people are like overreacting about like it's the kicker. Like, yeah, most of the time it's miscommunication. Most of the time it's probably the ball handler did not handle the ball well.
Yeah, that could be a factor, because Bryce Behringer was the ball handler for majority of it, so it says a lot. But I bet you the special teams is going to be fine. The field goal unit is going to be fine, as long as it's not during the regular season games. Then I'll be completely fine. Preseason, sometimes it doesn't count, but if it happens during the regular season, you're definitely going to get caught, and then there's going to be candidates out there that are going to take the field goal. I mean, the kicking position, similar to how the Jets did it last year, when you had Greg the Leg missing kicks left and right. It's so funny, but at the same time, it shows how valuable the kicking position is. And I agree with you, Tyler. The only people who are truly at fault is coaches, but sometimes
coaches. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but I bet you Jeremy Springer is going to be one of the best special team coordinators out there.
Yes,
thank goodness we have him over Scott O'Brien, I think, or over who is it? Joe Judge. But
like Joe Judge is okay, but at sometimes like the only times he's not good as offensive coordinator, which we're not getting to that point.
Please no, but. Speaking of offense, let's talk about the offense. And oh my gosh, it was abysmal, I would say. Ben Wooldridge, you may look at the stats and say Ben Wooldridge had 10 out of 20 completed passes.
That doesn't mean crap at all.
It doesn't. It just shows how bad the offensive line is. It just shows how bad Javon Baker as a receiving threat. Well, I'm going to ask you this, Austin. Now that we've gone to like 3 preseason games now, and we've seen all of training camp and what are your thoughts on Javon Baker now? Because it seems like time after time again, people are vouching to have Javon Baker just because he does well in special teams, but as a receiver, he lays massive eggs like it's Groundhog Day.
So I'll start off by saying, like, yeah, I think I do see the special teams value there. He did make some very solid contributions in this past preseason game that kind of made you go, okay, maybe there's a path for him to be on this team. I do also think that Ben Wooldridge isn't the best quarterback to be trying to throw him the ball. I think on like 2 of his drops I was watching and Wooldridge threw behind him or overthrew him. And people were like, oh, Javon Baker couldn't catch another ball. And I'm sitting here like, those aren't his fault. Like, I don't understand. Maybe people are just sick of the name, sick of the antics with him, like dancing at practice or whatever, or taunting. I don't know. I personally think he could be on this team. He's definitely only going to be doing special teams. He's going to have to really work hard if he wants to be like an actual pass catcher. I mean, it could be like a Edelman route where you're literally on the team just doing special teams for a year or two before you gain the trust of, either the coaches or, the quarterback, or maybe you're gone.
I do see that, honestly. Like I get people are like myself included, do not want to hear the name of Javon Baker, but the upside here, if you put him like as a gunner at special teams, like you said, Austin, like what Julian Edelman did here, there is a possible chance that he could actually do decently, progressively well as a pass catcher. But if we keep him at this point, we need to put him at special teams, literally. Like, I know people hate the name of Javon Baker. They want him cut, but give him a chance or something. Put him in special teams.
Yet there's still teams that are still fans that are vouching for Javon Baker. And I remember going on Colby's channel, and I watched the live play-by-play live stream, and I know he was really upset that he wants Baker gone, and I could see the frustration because I'm glad you asked this, Nelson. Why do you all hate Javon Baker so much? Here's the reason why I was never a huge fan of Javon Baker. Yeah, granted the name. His maturity still hasn't gotten there. Like when he made that comment during the introductory press conference that he can make people stand up in wheelchairs, I was like, okay, can you prove it on the field? And when I look at play-by-play, so many drops were made. It was drops galore, like it's Groundhog Day. Like I couldn't take it anymore. Also, having the audacity to be like dancing while clearly you're expected to be back in the huddle during. It just shows that the maturity isn't there, and that's what I was really frustrated about Javon Baker during the regular season. And this is what I don't understand. You want Javon Baker on your team, and you're getting rid of Jalen Polk because he wore the number 1 or something like that, or he was a second rounder. I'm starting to think that fans need to realize not everything is going to go your way. Like I would rather see Polk on IR and learning the Josh McDaniels offense and just having like a mental reset than having some guy who just blabs his mouth to the media or onto like social media in general and just say some of the most nonsense things and don't produce any of that on the field, which I really, really don't get it. It really frustrates me. And
yeah, I wouldn't say I hate Baker, though. I mean, if anything, I was trying to defend him, saying, the balls that he's being thrown aren't, really quality balls, and he's been doing good on special teams. I think because of the media perception, because of some of these things, like he's just automatically at a disadvantage and is going to have to work harder to prove people wrong. And it's just a matter of, does he have that mental capability to, drown out the noise and put in the work and, be the receiver we all thought he could be a year ago.
Yeah. And I get my gut. Okay. Javon Baker is fat and stupid. That's okay. I don't think we're gonna have to go that far, but I just think
no.
No.
Okay.
Let's not go that far.
Uppy McDowney, you get an F.
I will say I hate him as a player. As an individual, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Let's just say that. But as a player, I don't like him. And let me just find a comment. This is a comment from Tyler here. He said they picked to hate anyone associated with Mayo. They hated Mayo the second he was hired, and make sure all the fans hated him too. God, I don't want to associate this conversation on last season, considering that how much I did not like last season. Granted, it was one of the worst ways to rebuild a season, and granted that. We drafted Javon Baker. We drafted Jalen Polk. And I thought Jalen Polk had promise. But if it wasn't for the coaching staff, everything would have gone a different route. Like, if Mayo was accountable for his actions and making the moves that are necessary, both offense and defense, everything would have been a different story. But he was unprepared. He was not ready for the situation. And I felt like he had to be let go, and thankfully, let's just focus on the new regime led by Mike Vrabel, Elliot Wolf, and Ryan Cowden, and just have a positive vibe. But
real quick, I like the comment that delusional Patriots fan said about people fighting in the trenches alone, or he was fighting in the trenches alone about people wanting to have KJ Osborne over Butte, because I've been super high on Butte since we drafted him. Watching him at LSU, I've already told you, like, if he didn't have the ankle injury, he's going first round. Like, he was just that caliber of a receiver. And I thought it was a slam dunk. So I'm there with you, delusional Pats fan. Like, I didn't listen to any of the noise this offseason about, they're going to trade Butte. Like, no. He was Drake May's quote-unquote favorite target. I thought he was the most efficient with the targets he had. So I'm very excited to see what Butte is going to do in this offense.
I do too. Like, people want to say that Booty is gonna be a bust, that he would, because of what happened at LSU with the whole injury, combine, horrible performance, and then the whole gambling situation. Last season, he was put in a position that he was not supposed to be in, which was as a wide receiver one. But granted, let's talk about a couple of with Kayshon Boutte. He was mossing cornerbacks. Like, he mossed two of the top cornerbacks in the 2022 NFL draft. He owned Derek Stingley, even though we lost that game. And then he owned the living heck out of Sauce Gardner. That just says a lot about a wide receiver who had the potential to be a first rounder, doing that against an overrated cornerback who I think is an overrated cornerback in Sauce Gardner. I just didn't understand the whole trade rumors with Kayshon Boutte. If he can stay consistent, though, then I can see him like being eligible for a for a contract extension. Not like a hefty extension like so many top wide receivers are getting like 4 years and whatnot. A 3-year deal would be more reasonable for Kayshon Boutte here. What are your thoughts?
Real quick, because he's saying, how can we hate Baker and Polk, but Butte? It's because Butte was a 7th round pick, man. And I'm not saying like I hate Baker and Polk. I'm just saying, given where they were drafted, they have severely underperformed. Where if you look at Butte, like, that's a 7th round pick where they probably didn't expect him to really do anything, and he's already outperformed the 2nd round and the 4th round pick that we had. That's all I'm getting at. I don't know. I don't hate Baker and Polk. It's just Polk doesn't seem like he's going to be on this team come next year, just because it's a terrible year followed up by unfortunate injury, and he's going to have to really work hard, especially if we have all the receivers this year pop off. And then, like I said, Baker's special teams at this point. Like, I don't know. He just doesn't practice with the 1st or 2nd team, basically. So it's really going to be hard for him, in my opinion, to make the roster. I wouldn't say there's any animosity or hate. I'm just laying it how it is.
Yeah, exactly. But on the talk about Kayshon Boutte, like, when we first got him, like, I was not a fan of that pick, because I don't know what he's look like on the field, and I have a bad feeling he's gonna be talking crap on the field, like he's a Tyreek Hill of the 22 rookie class. But ever since but since he proved that to me that he played good on the field, well, I grow to like him a bit. But again, with the Baker, I don't like him as a player as well. But Polk, yeah, he's on his way to get out of this team at this point. If he got a bad injury, he's on IR, and now he had a bad season last year, and it's not his fault. It's his stupid receivers coach. So,
and then Elliot Wolf did mention, he said that it was his fault that he put so much on Polk's plate that he couldn't like handle it mentally. So that could also play a factor. But then again, when you re-injure that same shoulder, and he's about to have another shoulder injury, at this point, I don't know why you're still. At this point, you're gonna have to medically retire. What are your thoughts on Austin? What are your thoughts on Polk's injury? Because it seems like he re-injured the same shoulder, but I know it's not going to be much. But what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I mean, obviously he's still on the team. He's still in IR. We're gonna give him a shot next offseason. That's not the issue. It's just history has shown people that, injure something and then re-injure it, they're, in worse shape. I mean, I don't know. I'm rooting for the guy, obviously, because he was our second-round pick last year. Like, I'm not over here like, oh, I hope he sucks and he's off the team and I hate him. Like, no. Like, I want the guy that we thought was going to be our guy to be our guy. It's just ever since the trade back to then get Polk and Baker, every day since has just been, man, we should have just taken Ladd McConkey. Like, that's all you hear. And it's just the way things are panning out. It just feels like that every day.
Yeah. This guy, Uppy McDowney asks, did the receivers coach tell Polk to drop the ball or when it hits him in the hand? I wouldn't say that. I just say that they have zero clue, and I mean zero clue of what to do as a wide receiver. Because Tyler Hughes, he was a offensive quality coach for Washington, the same school that Polk went to. And I bet you he vouched Elliot Wolf for the Patriots to draft that guy. That's my thought process. And then the other guy, Tyquan Underwood. I don't know why the heck he was even hired as a assistant wide receivers coach. He shouldn't be in this damn league as a coach, and that says a lot. I feel like I think that now that we have Todd Downey, even though he's only worked as a running backs and a tight ends coach, at least you have players in that wide receiver room who have the veteran leadership and have a sense of what to do in the wide receiver room. So I think Todd Downing is going to give us a better chance than those two clowns that we brought in last season. So that says a lot. But before we move on, I see that we have 10 viewers here in the live chat, and please make sure, guys, if you're joining in, please make sure that you smash the like button at least if you really enjoyed the show. And if you really want to see more content like this, please click the subscribe button. It's completely free. It helps us grow significantly as a channel, as a family, and as a community, and we appreciate the support. But let's talk about another player who I think is definitely going to be out of here sooner than later, and that is Cole Strange. This guy has been here for 4 seasons now, and he still hasn't proved to me anything. Like, he was healthy as a left guard, but ever since that injury that he suffered, there were so many questions about his injury history, his medical records, and what he's going to be doing at center, and it seems like it's not getting any better. So I'm going to ask you this, Thomas. What are your thoughts on Cole Strange at this point? Because he's one step away from leaving the Patriots or getting shopped at this point.
Cole Strange should not be a center. Honestly, he should have stayed as a guard at this point to fill the slots. But whatever. If he continues to play like garbage as an F-worthy pick, then yeah, get him out of here. He's probably done.
Yeah. How about you, Austin?
It's the same type of scenario. It's like you want the picks that you had to work out, but I mean, he was a severe overreach. Since then, he's just been plagued with injuries and kind of underperformed. And I don't know. I mean, I definitely loved a lot more of what Jared Wilson and Ben Brown did this year for the preseason. To where, I mean, if we end up cutting Cole Strange loose, like I'm not hurt. I mean, he could be the backup too. I mean, he could end up starting. I don't know. I feel like our O-line depth really showed its true colors though in this past preseason game, and it's going to be interesting how they are going to fill it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm scared about the backup plan because if the starters go down, and I don't wish injury upon anybody, it's going to be a long season for all of us. Like the fact that if one of our starters go down, if it's our first round rookie Will Campbell, similar to how Olafashinu did for the New York Jets, oh my goodness, I'm scared of what depth is going to look like. And this is why, thank goodness, I love having Doug Marrone as our offensive line coach, but I'm really scared. But yeah, let's take a look at the defense. Let's take a look at the defense now because, oh my goodness, I get it that we're going up against backups to backups, but we let Tommy DeVito score 3 touchdowns on us. He threw them for 198 yards, and he completed 17 out of 20 touchdowns. And I get it, we're going up against backups and backups, but you had James. We went up against Jackson Dart, who looked really impressive as a rookie, even though it's the preseason. But when you allow Tommy DeVito to complete 17 out of 20 passes against us, how does that feel for our backup defense? I'll ask you, Austin, this.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, you look at it, it's like if it's Jackson Dart, you're kind of like, okay, whatever. It's the new draft pick. Like, okay, he's slicing up our things, but you got Danny DeVito in there cooking us. Like, come on. So it definitely was. It was definitely hard to watch, I will say.
It was definitely hard to watch for sure because the last time we played the Giants back in 2023, excuse me, Tommy DeVito was the starting quarterback.
Yeah, and we freaking lost. Oh, Tommy Cutlets. I do not forgive this. Did not forget about that name, honestly. It's expected that we get cooked by him here. We just got a bad backup defense here, and we went against Jackson Dart, which I said this to you guys. I'm scared. I'm scared about this defense going against Jackson Dart. He's well accurate. He has a good arm at this point. In my opinion, besides Cam Ward, he's probably the best quarterback in this draft class.
Yeah.
And also to forget, we faced Jameis Winston too.
Yeah, turn the ball over, man.
He got a freaking touchdown. When we combine those 3 quarterbacks we faced, 5 passing touchdowns they got us through.
Yeah. And you know what's even funnier, which I couldn't even fathom? Their leading receiver in yards was former punt returner, kick returner, Gunnar Olszewski. 3 receptions, 3 targets for 68 yards. That just shows how embarrassing it is.
Dude, when I saw Gunnar cutting us up, dude, oh my god.
This clearly shows how bad this defense is as a backup.
Yeah, I can't believe we're getting owned by our former Patriots player that we brought in as an UDFA out of Bemidji. I'm not going to say the school's name because I don't forgive myself after.
Go Belichick.
That's a good example, though, of a player that persevered and then is getting some like offensive looks, I guess. But again, like I don't know, it's preseason, so it's possible he's just going to be the returner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. However, I get it though. However, there were some positive things to take away from the defense. Was we forced some turnovers on the team. Like we forced a interception off of Jameson Williams. We got a fumble out of him, and I thought the fumble would call. But I'm going to ask you this, Austin. How did it feel to have that fumble taken away because of a stupid penalty call by let me find that. Let me find that part of the game. I know that there was a fumbles. I know there was like a fumble somewhere that turned into a touchdown. It was a fumble, but oh yes, it was a fumble caused by Jack Gibbons and recovered by Jabril Peppers, but there was a defending holding call on Jordan Polk. How did that feel as a
other Polk?
Yeah, how does it feel as a Pats fan to feel that we made a play, but then it got held back by a holding call?
I think it's just one of those where you hate to see it, and it's just a mental error on Jordan Polk's part, and it's probably one of the reasons why he's no longer with the team, right? So it's just it felt like me watching it felt bad as a Pats fan because you go from this high of we just made him fumble and oh my god touchdown to are you kidding me? Called back, seriously? Like it feels like the Patriots of the past 5 years that we've had to go through. You know what I mean? So, but again, it's just preseason. I'm not reading into it, but obviously, just speaking from a fan, it was just high elated to like of course. Like almost every time something good happens, I'm just conditioned to like look for that flag now. Like that's.
Yeah, it really sucks. I get it. I'm gonna say it again. It's the preseason, but still, certain mistakes like these, they're gonna get you out of this team. And I bet you Jordan Polk. Let me see that list again. Let me see if Jordan Polk was eventually cut after that during the 14 how do I say after the whole roster cutdowns, but yep, it seems like we're going to it seems like it's going to be a long season, but thankfully we got rid of some of these players. And Jackson, or more like Jackson or Craddock.
I had enough. This is not funny. Uppy Downey, stop. And Anthony Amato, stop. This is just completely out of hand. Just stop.
Yeah, Tyler. Yeah, Tyler. If you're in the chat, can you take care of these, because these comments aren't like these are going to be tolerated. And it's just guys. Let's just keep guys. I get it. You can comment whatever you just ask questions and all that, but some of these comments are so unacceptable. It's really stupid. And
yeah, it's just completely. It's not funny. Honestly,
yeah, it's unacceptable.
It's just stupid. It's just childish. It's just repulsive. I hate type of people who literally just comment like, "Oh, Jackson Jackson farted and crap his pants." Yeah, it's just completely stupid, dumb. It's just repulsive. You get enough for that.
That's a perfect example. But where we go from there, because I there's anything positive about the game, with the exception of let's take a look. Well, I'm just taking a look, but I think that the run game it didn't look great. But when we talk about Josh McDaniels' offense, it seems like we keep on running the ball. It was really disgusting, especially our lead rushing was Shane Watts, who did get cut, but
that's a bummer.
What were your thoughts, Austin, on the whole Josh McDaniels play calling? Even though there were some players that were definitely not like roster locks, I would say. Oh, you're muted.
I'm actually a pretty big fan of how he's been calling the offense just in the preseason, because it's kind of what you alluded to at the beginning, where you don't want to show all your cards. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
I've just seen a lot of, like, the Commanders game. We had a lot of turnovers, huge special teams return, very insignificant passing yards, and a ton of rushing yards. Vikings game kind of trended the same way, a lot more rushing. And then in this game, it definitely seems like we were just, trying to get the run game going, leaning heavy on the run. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it Ben Woolridge only had like 82 passing yards on the game or something?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. 82 passing yards, only a touchdown, INT, and he got sacked once.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It was embarrassing to watch. I get it, and I'm gonna say this again. It's preseason, but these performances like these, they're gonna get you cut from the team regardless. But I'm gonna take a look at your questions right now. And NJ comes in by saying, "Do you think Chason will bench? Do you think Keon White is gonna be benched for Caleb on Chason?" I don't know. Probably, I bet you Chason is definitely going to be like in a starting role, but Keon White, I think Keon White is going to take more of like a deep interior defensive line role. I don't see him being like your true edge rusher, because when we try to put him at edge, he looked invisible from there. But go ahead, Thomas. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, Keon White is a interior defensive guy. That's why we drafted him here. I wanted to be as an interior defensive guy, but somehow Bill Belichick literally want to put him as a interior linebacker, which I'm sorry, it did work a bit, but it didn't. It's a failed project. So I would say this at this point here, he's more like an interior defensive guy over your linebacker spot. To answer your question here, Najee, no. He's not going to get – Keon White's not going to get benched. Chason is going to play on the linebacker spot, and Keon White's most likely going to be your interior defensive guy.
How about you, Austin?
Yeah, I don't think Caleb Chason is going to outright bench Keon White, but I haven't been overly impressed with some of the stuff Keon White's been able to do. I think we're all in the same boat where we're trying to hope that he takes that next leap at edge rusher and, is going to be a double-digit sack leader for us on this team. Edge is one of the areas of concern for me. So it's one of those we'll have to wait and see. I'm very interested to just see this first matchup, because some people are probably sleeping on the Raiders offense, and I think they could be a pretty damn solid team on offense with Genty, Bowers, Myers, and even Geno Smith. Like, Geno Smith has been very solid. So it's going to be tough, but I don't think Chason is like overtaking Keon White.
You're muted.
Thank you, Thomas. You're like Dustin. It feels like whenever I'm always muted, Dustin will always remind me to like mute myself. But hey, it is what it is. Like, I tend to forget. But yeah, I think Keon White will have like some sort of role in this defense. I just don't see him as like a outside linebacker or maybe your defensive end, I would say. But coming out of Georgia Tech, he was not your typical defensive line. I think it was just Bill Belichick having zero clue what to do with him. And it didn't get better with DeMarcus Covington having zero clue of how to utilize him. But I think
don't mention that stupid name. Holy hell. He's the most garbage defensive coordinators I have ever seen in my life. He's F-worthy.
Yeah, he's F-worthy. And thank goodness he is going to make the defensive line worse in Green Bay. And well, I got you. Green Bay is gonna be. I don't see anything better. But Angie comes in with another question, and we can talk about this, and then we'll move on to like the Ross. And we'll talk about like the 14 players that were released and players that we will then eventually discuss, like who's
And
going
our
to win.
and our winners and losers for this preseason game.
Definitely. But he asked, do you think Henderson will be on running back 1 by week 4 or 5? I'll start with you, Austin, and then Thomas's take and then my take.
I do think this is going to be a lot more of a running back by committee. The only reason I really say that is because in Josh McDaniels' offenses, that is how those offenses have been powered, is you kind of have your elusive guy, you kind of have your pass catcher, and then you have your, ground and pounder. So, I mean, Ramondre is going to be our red zone and down very close to the goal line type of back. Antonio Gibson's going to be good for the elusive side of it, and then Henderson is going to give us that pass catching and that type of burst that we haven't had in a long time on the Patriots. So I am leaning more committee, but I would say that it doesn't mean by midseason maybe Henderson has carved out more of a role. To start, I think it is going to be very Ramondre heavy and just maybe Henderson mixing in, Gibson mixing in, but it could very well be somebody, runs away with the job. And I think it'll never truly be, Henderson is RB1. I just think it would be one of the 3 running backs gets more of the timeshare.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you, Austin. Like, honestly, like, it's going to be the same. It's going to be like your rotational pieces on running backs. Like you're going to have, like, Rondre Stevenson, who's going to be your main guy, and now Travion Henderson's going to be more like your receiving type of back, your third down back, and then you just have, like, Gibson out of the blue. But I don't care who will be the starting running back is, as long as they have, like, as long as they could show some talent around the room. As long as we got a better pieces on the offense, including the offensive line, that can actually protect on the run, which Ramondre have a lot of fumbles here. Was not his fault, because it's that stupid offensive line that we had last year. It's completely hot doo-doo garbage. Now we got a better offensive line as we speak. Now we could see if he does not fumble. But now I see. I just feel like now might as well keep Ramondre as your typical through the gut running back, and you have Henderson go like around the outside, left or right side running back or receiving back. Like what Paperboy says, he is the Henderson and Ramondre are the Gibbs and Montgomery light, which I do see, because Montgomery, like, Henderson is more like a Jahmyr Gibbs, like, who has speed, which I do enjoy. I'm a huge fan of Jahmyr Gibbs. And I really want somebody to pick him up. And I'm glad the Lions do pick him up. And Ramondre is some sort of like Montgomery, who is a power back who can literally go to the gut. Well, so yeah, I would, despite who is the starting running back, which I don't give a damn, as long as these two show up on the field, might as well.
Yeah, I don't see like your definite running back 1, because if you take a look at the previous offenses that utilized the running back 1, like Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and we could talk about Christian McCaffrey, who I think he's not going to be in the league for much longer because of his medical records. James Cook, but I think that Bills could definitely go running back by committee, but Bills are definitely going to utilize James Cook a lot. I have zero clue what the Dolphins are going to do, because I don't trust Devon A-Chain nor their backups. Yeah, Tyler brings up another point. Henderson also needed Judkins to expand his game in Ohio State. Like, yeah, the reason why Henderson, without Judkins, Henderson would have been medically done. And thank goodness that Ramondre Stevenson could be that type of guy. And I think that it went on the field, Henderson's healthy, he can make plays like these. And I can see Ramondre Stevenson under Josh McDaniels being like your next Shane Reverine or James White or yada yada yada. We can go on and on and on about running backs, but yeah, let's not talk about the winners and losers, because it seems like there's so many losers you can think of from the Giants, like for the Giants game. Like Thomas, you alluded to the offensive line. I agree, the backup offensive line was horrendous. I would give Javon Baker the same thing as well, because not only he was missing drops, even though he made that incredible play of special teams, drops and the penalty is the reason why I'm going to consider him as a loser. Another loser, I'm going to say Cole Strange, because you're in the damn league for 4 seasons and you forced a hold, and then you got a holding penalty against you, negating 10 yards, and we had to force a kickle. Have to force a field goal from us. That's what I got really upset about. But who would you say are your losers for that final preseason game, Austin?
So, do you want losers or winners and losers?
Start off with losers, because
I'll start with losers.
So, I didn't necessarily totally pick out players individually. I just kind of picked positions, but I thought the offensive line depth was by far the worst that we've seen. In specific, so in Robinson, which turns out they're already cut, but you could really see their struggles are pretty glaring in that loss. The next one would be, I felt our linebackers played very poorly. They missed a lot of gap fits and a lot of tackles. They were taking very poor angles from what I could see. And then the third would just be defensive back depth, which I had Bolden and Polk. And obviously Polk is cut. I forget if Bolden's cut.
He is cut. Bolden's
so
cut.
Both of those guys I felt couldn't even hold up in coverage. And obviously Polk on that holding call. I mean, you hate to say one play cost you, but what if that play was the last play of the game and could have decided things? You never know. So to me, those were our biggest losers or underperformers of the Thursday night game.
How about you, Thomas? Besides the offensive line?
Probably the defensive backs. There's nothing to say about it.
Yeah, the depth of the defensive. Yeah, the depth is going to be very concerning, especially that we allowed Gunnar Olszewski to score 68 yards against us, and it didn't help that he completed 3 for 3 against us. And then,
and it really doesn't help that Tommy DeVito threw for almost 200 passing yards, and the 3 quarterbacks threw combined 320 passing yards and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
that really doesn't help.
That was really embarrassing. But let's talk about the winners. And I couldn't think of any winner from that game, but the only winner I can think of is Jeremiah Webb. And it's between Jeremiah Webb and Phil Lutz, Tyler's guy out of Delaware. But that's the only thing I can think of, because
unfortunately Lutz has been cut.
Yes, unfortunately Lutz has been cut, and I hope he makes the Patriots practice squad, but I would say Jeremiah Webb is my definite winner, because he is like a reliable guy. He can make contested catches, and he could like help you be like your deep threat. Granted that he is not gonna be like your wide receivers 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, but he could be like your wide receiver, like not 8 or 9. Yeah. But I think that it's just this wide receiver room is so loaded. There's so many good guys who can make the roster. It's completely a lot better than the previous wide receiver rooms that we had. So
yeah,
there's a lot of competition about it. But my second winner, I would say, is Jack Gibbons when he forced that fumble. It should have been a fumble. It should have been a fumble, but penalties are penalties. So I would also give Jordan Polk a loser, but for my winner, I would say Jack Gibbons 100%. What are your thoughts on Jack Gibbons? I'll start with you, Austin.
Yeah, I think the pickup of Jack Gibbons was kind of a no-brainer from the start. Just having ties back to Vrabel in Tennessee, and I just thought since we signed him that he was just going to make an impact on our team, which he has proven throughout some of these games and throughout camp that he can make an impact. Whether he's going to be a starter alongside Spillane there, I don't know, because we still have Tavai, we still have Ellis. Like, there's a few others mixed in, right? So I'm not sure if he's going to be starting, but if you had to tell me Jack Gibbons is a guy that's going to be rotating in, like, that's a position that I feel like I don't need to worry about.
Yeah, I definitely think that Gibbs is definitely Gibbons is definitely have the tool set to like be like one of our better linebackers, and if he does really well alongside Christian Ellis and Robert Spillane, he's definitely eligible to get like an extension, because I feel like Tennessee shouldn't release him, because I think Tennessee, then again, they're one of the most dumbest franchises ever, I would say. Like, you let go Mike Vrabel, you trade away AJ Brown for this crap show, and then Paul, before we move on to like the next part of the show, which is the roster cutdowns, please make sure, if you haven't already, please smash the like button if you haven't already, or you get an F. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, which you will receive a double F if you haven't subscribed to this channel. It's completely free. It helps us grow significantly, and it just shows that YouTube recommends this show as your source for like Patriots content and whatnot. So if you haven't subscribed or if you haven't clicked the like, tell them the message, Thomas.
I would like to go over my winners too, real quick, if it wouldn't.
Yes. Let's go over the winners. What is your win? Who are your winners?
So I have a few. I think Kyle Duggar is a winner. I feel like leading into that game, everybody, like, at least throughout the preseason, everyone's just been like, Duggar doesn't have a place on our team. He's going to be cut. He's going to be traded. And while I do think he could possibly be traded, he definitely helped his case of maybe staying on this team, because he played 32 snaps, snagged an interception, and kind of looked like a defensive leader out there, which is, what we're really hoping of him for this year. So I liked him. I had Javon Baker as a winner just because of his special teams play. I thought it was really good, minus the one penalty. I think from his effort and hustle alone on those, I feel like he's kind of cemented his place on this roster. And at the very least, maybe he's practice squad, right? I thought Joshua Farmer flashed explosiveness and length in this game, so I'd say him. Jeremiah Webb, same as you. I think he was the lone touchdown catch last night, and I think just his performance over the past few weeks has earned him a spot on the practice squad. And I wouldn't be, completely heartbroken if, say, one of our guys goes down at wide receiver if we have Jeremiah Webb coming in, because he has kind of flashed in these games. And lastly, I thought Marcus Bryant looked very clean in some of the pass steps, and he looked poised in the very limited reps that he did receive out on the field.
Interesting. How about you, Thomas?
Yeah, I have Duggar as one of my winners. Obvious. My second one is Del Pettis, because the way he's been playing right now, the way he's been playing, 6 total tackles, 7 in total. I think he's been a solid player for us for lately. Joshua Farmer, yes, is another one of them here. But my last winner at this point, Monte Mapu. The way he's been with 5 total tackles, he got a pass deflection. Same with Duggar, 2 pass deflections. The way he's been playing right now, I don't see why he should not be a winner at this rate.
Yeah. Also, I see you guys. Okay, before we move on to like the Patriots roster cutdowns and all that, I just want to get to a couple of your questions. And I can see everybody in the chat talking about like, oh, Diggs being like, oh, this and that again. Oh, we're not getting to this discussion again with Diggs. Please, for goodness sakes, let's not talk about the Diggs stuff.
I'll take care of this. I'll take care of this one here. Guys, if you like, guys, shut I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this once. Shut the fuck up. Honestly, like Diggs. Like I saw what Paul Davidson said. He's like, oh look what he did to Josh Allen. Who cares? Who freaking cares? It's the past. Buffalo is just being Buffalo. I'm sorry. And look what he did to Houston. He played well until he got the injury. Look what he did to New England. He's now teaching the young wide receivers about what they could do at this point at training camp. I'm sorry, Paul. Paul, you get an F for making that.
Oh, we're not talking about the viewers to shut. You gotta listen carefully. We're talking about those who think about the Diggs situation. Please get your facts correct if you want to make sure. But just telling reminders that just to calm down, just calming down.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs is not going to be a cancer for New England. Whoever thinks that, shut up. Like, absolutely shut up. He is a complete different receiver at this point.
Just to clarify, telling them to shut about the Diggs conversation. That's just to clarify, okay? Don't worry. We got. You guys you have the free to talk about anything else. If it's about Stephon Diggs being delusional, I don't get it. But let's get to your questions. And I think that we got a couple of questions from NJ because there's too many questions from NJ that we have here. But question. I feel like we are so close on competing the defense. We're just missing a safety unless if Wilson pans out. Maybe another cornerback to help out Davis and Gonzo. Agree or disagree? I'll start with you, Austin.
Yeah, I still think we're like one guy out coverage-wise because until Miami brought in Asante Samuel, I was really high on us potentially bringing that guy in. Even when, was it Jair Alexander who got released by the Packers and then signed with the Ravens? Like, I was even in on him. Like, I felt like there were some opportunities to really bring in some other talent at the cornerback position. And I don't know, maybe they just feel content with what we have. I love Marcus Jones as a special teamer or returner, but sometimes in coverage, I feel like he could be a liability, which I saw a lot of times in the preseason. And even past years where it's just his height. He's got the speed, but I mean, if he's lined up against anyone taller, I mean, all they got to do is throw a go ball because it's not like he's got a Mario mushroom and he's about to jump up. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
Who's out there right now? I don't know if there's somebody we could really bring. I'd have to kind of look into it, but I have been a fan of bringing in someone.
Yeah, interesting. How about you, Thomas? I'm just gonna tell you guys that we apologize for the language that was being said earlier was wrong to say something offensive to the viewers because you're great guys. It was just wrong from all of us, but just delivering a message as an apology note that it was wrong from both of us. But continue, Thomas. Continue. Go with your take, Thomas.
I completely agree. I would see us getting one strong corner on free agency, whatever you have here. So, if we do have enough money on cap space, that is.
We are currently number one in cap space.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, the problem is even though we have the most cap space, do we have enough money for to extend our homegrown players? That's going to be the question. And I think that there's so many routes we can go take with the cornerback room. Like we I don't know how to say this, but cornerback room is going to be a liability if anybody goes down with like an injury, and I don't wish injury upon anybody. So that's a little bit scary, I'd say. But I think that we're going to have to look into the draft of this because it's going to have to be the draft or free agency because if you go for free agency, there's bound to be having a crappy cornerback room. Like, look what the Dolphins did. They brought in Jack Jones and Mike Hilton when clearly they should have target cornerback, and clearly they neglected that. They neglected that need for some dumb reason. So
Dumbass reasons, yeah.
Yeah, it was dumb. But let's move on to the roster cutdowns, and let's bring up the roster cutdowns. Let me share that page for you all, you guys. And let me see. Joe, if you're wondering, that was actually me who wrote the comment in the comment section, because I'm controlling all this, Joe. So just to let you know, it was me who wrote that, not Thomas, just to let you know. But at least our sins are forgiven. That's all we care about. But let's talk about the candidates, the players who got cut. Let's talk about it. We got tight end Jaheim Bell, running back Micah Bernard, defensive tackle Philip Bliddy, cornerback Isaiah Bolden, tight end Cole Fotheringham, wide receiver Phil Lutz, linebacker RJ Monton, DT Kyle Pecco, cornerback Jordan Polk, linebacker Monty Rice, offensive guard Tyrese Robinson, guard City So, running back Shane Watson, quarterback Ben Woolridge. 14 players who have been cut. Out of any of those players, Austin, are like a surprise to you, or like a shocking surprise to you?
I would say the least shocking is Ben Woolridge. I think we all kind of knew we were just going to go in with two quarterbacks, and he was just going to probably be a practice squad candidate. The absolute most heartbreaking for me is Jaheim Bell. I've been so high on him since we drafted him, and just seeing his play and just the versatility. I do understand he's an undersized tight end at 6'2", but I just felt like in Josh McDaniels' offense, he was going to play a very pivotal role in being able to line up at the fullback position, at the tight end position, line out wide, be an X type of thing if we needed to. So seeing him cut really shocked me, and I'm kind of sad because as a fan, you kind of choose some of your favorite players, and you root for them, you hope they succeed, and when it doesn't work out, you are a little heartbroken.
Yeah, interesting. How about you, Thomas?
Least shocking is least shocking is Woolridge. He's not that good, honestly, but I'm kind of shocked that we released Jaheim Bell. Honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of him when we drafted last year, but he's been a decent undersized tight end. 6'2", 6'3", 297. Wrong description. 6'2", 241. He's been the only thing he's been good at is special teams, and we haven't utilized him a lot. And I thought he would be more useful on the tight end room with our two older tight ends we have here. But sad that we had to let him go.
Yeah, for me, I'm not surprised with some of these players. The only shot, I agree with Jaheim Bell, to be honest, because I thought that Bell, he would at least have a chance to be I thought he could be like Aaron Hernandez as a player, not as a person himself, but talent wise, I think he could have been like the next Aaron Hernandez, because he could be like your H-back, he could be like your wide receiver, I would say. The problem with him are his drops. So that was the reason why we had to cut Jaheim Bell, is because of his drops. But I just felt like he's not he doesn't have the I just don't think that he has the skills or the size of a regular tight end. So it's gonna be bad, but it's gonna suck. But hey. At least we have some current tight ends that we have. We have Jack Westover, we still have CJ Dupree, and we have G. Scott Jr. So
with Jaheim Bell, I just felt like he brought something to the tight end room that we didn't have. And I just feel like by keeping Jack Westover, it's all right, we just have another Austin Hooper. Which isn't bad. I mean, it's a big blocking tight end, but I'm waiting for the days where he can get a Gronk-like player back, which may never happen because there's only one Gronk. But
Yeah, you're not gonna
we definitely need some good tight end play, and Hunter Henry has been supplying that. But I don't know. That's why I've also been high on maybe trying to trade for Kyle Pitts at some point. Like, I'm surprised that he hasn't been made available, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just feel, I think that, yeah, I agree with what Tyler said. Bell wasn't making catches. He was sloppy in his routes and just wasn't getting it. Unfortunately, that was the reason why he fell to the seventh round. And unfortunately, that had to be the case. But hey, if he goes on to another team, I wish him the best of luck. Hopefully, he would be a better player than we all anticipated. He just probably wasn't like the type of guy for this offense. But we shall see. But yeah. Also, I don't know if it was you. Paul asked, did you see, guys, what Vrabel said about Gonzo? Unfortunately, not. However, I did see some comments from Vrabel about the rats quote of like, who are the rats that have been scourging around the whole Jalen Polk like injury rumors? Did you hear any of that, Austin, or no?
Very briefly, I didn't really get any information as to like who's the one ratting out or spreading the information. For some reason, I feel like I saw it was like Schultz, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it was Jordan Schultz.
Yeah, so I think it was Schultz that was leaking this information, and like obviously Vrabel being the type of coach that he is, he wants to keep everything like close knit, under wraps. Whatever the business of the team is, it should stay within the team. It doesn't matter, anyone else's opinions, whether that be media or just any external sources in general. So the fact that he wanted to keep a tight lid on this, where it probably wasn't even going to be advertised that Jalen Polk is going to IR or didn't need season-ending surgery or whatever for his shoulder again, right? That's a big deal because you never know what they're trying to do with the team. And obviously, as a coach, you have more respect for your players and you want to do right by them. And in a way, maybe Vrabel thinks that he failed his players because he wasn't, protecting their information.
Yeah, sometimes, Jordan Schultz is the rat. Yeah, I just don't. Sometimes the media can be the media, and like we talk about criticizing and 98.5 or NBC Sports Boston, like they just want, the media wants to like bring out these stories just to get clicks and the attention, which I think that yeah, I think it's just stupid. I think it's just stupid.
It's just dumb, honestly.
Yeah. I think the leak also might come from the Steelers with the random report that of the Steelers doing the homework on him. Yeah, that was not on. That was not from Schultz. That was some guy. I forgot his name. I think his name is Armando Sanguero. I think it's Armando Sanguero, who may have like tweeted this about the Steelers doing homework on Jalen Polk. And if the Steelers get Jalen Polk, I'm going to laugh at the Steelers, because Steelers are going to continue to be they're continuing to be a laughing stock of itself. Yeah, but Molly brings up a great question. Why would someone leak this info? Like, how would it benefit them? I have zero clue. Thankfully we're not in the media. Well, technically we're in the media as the YouTube channel, but we're not like in the media. Like we're not like from the Athletic. We're not like ESPN. We're not like any of like these big names like media. Like the media.
Like if I would have answered this here, it's literally gonna deliver. Like they would do this because they would deliver drama. To just try to make Patriots fans or any football fans or any sports fans have anxiety at this point. It's getting stressed at work on some people, but not this mofo here. I used to get stressed when it comes to when something leaked league on info on the Patriots and stuff here, but I'm sorry, like it's just completely stupid. It's literally is used for clicks. It's just completely dumb now here. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Also, Paul brings up how does Schultz get the info? I have zero clue how Schultz gets the info. Just like how does Adam Schefter get the interview? How does Ian Rappaport get the interview? How does Tom Pelissero get the information that we will discuss later? But I don't know, man. I would have known if I know all of this, but hey, it's the media trying to get clicks. But hey, there are some writers out there that are good, but then there's some writers, like I'm not gonna name any of them because that would be wrong on my end. But if it's not from like Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter, then I just don't think that's official reporting. And that's why Schultz just said that they're going to be putting him on, which is like not official reporting, which is why him and Ian Rappaport got into a fight at Starbucks during the combine.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is why you have Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, Jeremy Fowler, Adam Schefter as official sources. But speaking of sources, let's talk about some sources. Like, it was reported per Tom Pelissero that the Patriots are shopping DeMontre Jacobs and Vidarian Lowe. So, what are your thoughts? When you hear these news, Austin, what are your thoughts on Patriots shopping Lowe and Jacobs?
To me, I don't want to say it's like a desperate attempt to try and get rid of the garbage because I don't think they're like that bad by any means. But to me, if they're willing to trade them, in the back of my mind, it also means they're willing to cut them or they're willing to move on without them, right? So it's probably a similar situation to the Garrett Bradbury type thing where it's like, hey, we plan on cutting these guys, but if you trade us a 7th, that guarantees they go to you. You know what I mean?
Interesting. How about you, Thomas?
Good luck for getting those two here because I'm sorry, Vidarian Lowe is ass. Like, for God's sakes.
Yeah, same with DeMontre Jacobs because these two were responsible for they were responsible for these sacks, quarterback pressures, and the worst nightmare, penalties. Jacobs was a penalty machine. We all know that. And thank goodness, I didn't understand why we gave him that stupid 1-year deal, but thankfully that he will be gone at some point because I just don't want to see another one DeMontre Jacobs. So yeah, I think these two are going to be gone, but there's also another report that Kyle Duggar is also getting shopped. This is per Ian Rappaport. So I don't know what your thoughts about that, Austin. Considering that he did have his best game, but considering that he played 32 snaps the previous game, and then he played the majority of the snaps in the Vikings game. What are your thoughts about that, Austin? And could he potentially be like out in the outside looking in?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a possibility. Like I said, when do they need to have the roster cut? Is tomorrow or
Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday. So I don't know. There's probably a lot of factors that are going to go into it. There's probably a lot of people outside the bubble or just on the cusp of making the team. It's going to be some tough choices coming up. It really depends on, how big we want our wide receiver room. How many safeties are we going to carry? How many edges are we going to carry? Like, we have a lot of positions where there's a lot of players there. So to me, for him to make the team, it really depends on, what other positions are we keeping and do we value someone more than we do him at that position?
Interesting. How about you, Thomas?
I have no idea.
Interesting. Also, guys, can we stop talking about the farts and craps his pants? I think that's getting immature. Yeah, we did. We did get a little backlash about like telling you guys to knock it off, but I will tell you this: can you knock it off with the whole farts and craps his pants baloney? It's just getting annoying at this point, and really,
Yeah, it's just getting annoying real quick, and it really annoys me. So please stop.
okay. But let's talk about one player who I think he's already gone at this point, and that is Patriots guard Leighton Robinson. We thought that he would have potential to be like a quality guard for this team, but unfortunately, due to injuries and lackluster performance, he's unfortunately out of here. So, what are your thoughts? I'll ask you this, Austin. What are your thoughts on Leighton Robinson being on the waivers and then if he clears waivers, he's going to be on the injury reserve list?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, if he's going to be on IR anyways, it's like you don't really see a point in keeping him around. I mean, we do have some O-line depth. It was just probably a matter of like any player that's less than 4 years in the league, like since being drafted, does have to go through that waiver process. So that's the reason of him hitting waivers. And we probably have I believe there's really no limit to having people on IR, but once you place someone on IR, you're only allowed to bring 2 back off of IR for the whole season, if I remember correctly. So maybe it's just like one of those things they valued where they go, okay, if we put him on IR, is he even going to have the opportunity to come back and play? Would we ever activate him off the IR? And they probably looked at that and said, no, we wouldn't. So if he's not going to play anyways, it's like, unfortunately, you're not on the team. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Also, Nelson comes in saying Scott Peters destroyed a promising guy. I would disagree with you technically, because Scott Peters turned the ship around with the offensive line. He made Vidarian Lowe look serviceable, even though I hate him with a passion of a heart, as well as DeMontre Jacobs, but he made it look promising. What do you want to message? What the heck? This is what the heck, Siri? But as I was going to say, he made one of the worst offensive lines look serviceable, and I feel like I would disagree. I just would put the blame on why Elliot Wolf would even draft him, so I wouldn't blame it on Scott Peters. I would more blame this on the front office for why they even drafted Leighton Robinson. So, Austin, do you agree with this or no?
I don't know. It's like, I don't think Scott Peters did him any favors, right? I think we all can agree that last year with all of our coaching staff and I don't know, it was just a complete shit show all around. Nobody developed how we thought they were going to develop. We have Jalen Pogue, Javon Baker. That wide receiver coach was terrible. The O-line coach couldn't save us. Vidarian Lowe and everybody in between from the left tackle to the right tackle was pretty god-awful, besides maybe Onwenu, right? I don't know. It just felt like they didn't know what the hell they were doing last year, and it almost seemed like if I had never coached an NFL team and I went, hey, Dow, you're my friend, I'm going to put you on the coaching staff. And hey, Thomas, you're my friend, I'm going to put you on the coaching staff. And hey, all these people in the chat, let's put you guys on the coaching staff and let's see how this works here. Like, that's literally how dysfunctional last year felt. It felt like a fever dream. And if anything, I'm happy to be moving on and hopefully in the right direction. But yeah, I mean, I think the whole coaching staff destroyed a lot of people's chances last year, and unfortunately, that's what's affecting, this year's team, is that there's just no loyalty to anything that happened last year. And unfortunately, if you suck last year and you didn't develop last year, like, well, you better develop this offseason, because it's a short time to prove yourself, and if you can't do it, like, you're gone.
Yeah, I think they're gone. Yeah. That's why I love Dante Hightower, but I just don't think he could be a great coach. I think he can be a coach somewhere, but I just think he needs the experience. Matthew Slater as the assistant head coach. I had zero clue of why they did that. I love Matthew Slater, but if he was more of a special teams coach, it would make sense. Not as assistant to the head coach. And that's what that was the problem with Jerron Mayo's. He didn't have like coaches that he knows outside of New England, like outside of Foxborough. Mayo had zero, and I mean zero coaches that he knows of outside of New England. And that was the problem. Like, Elliot Wolf had to force feed, like, finding coaches that he knows from his time in Cleveland and Green Bay. And that was the biggest problem. So, yeah. But there's one more thing I want to discuss. And I think this is on Rob's Instagram page. And let me see if I can find out. And this was NBC. So NBC Sports Boston, and this is going to be the final segment before we call it for the day. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, so this is a post that I found on Rob's Insta page, and it's Patriots with instead of a T, it's with a 7. Please go check that out. NBC's Boston released players who they feel are on the bubble when it comes to making the roster. Who do you feel makes the 53-man roster? And the candidates are Kyle Duggar, Anthony Jennings, Kendrick Bourne, Cole Strange, Caden Wallace, Javon Baker, Martin Mapu, Marcus Epps, and Del Pettis. Out of these candidates, guys, who do you think could make the roster?
I'll go first for this. To me, like, one of my obvious answers is it's Kendrick Bourne because he has been with the team for a while now, and he's been and ever since Josh McDaniels has been offensive coordinator and Bourne's first stint with New England, he's been understandable on that Josh McDaniels offense. And I just feel like I know he's going to be one of our trade candidates. I still think he'll just stick around with us for one more season or so. And my second one is Marcus Epps. Like, why do we sign the contract? Even the people say that we're going to cut him. Like, I just don't see it. And yeah, that's it. That's all I'm going to have to say about that.
How about you, Austin?
I think Duggar makes it at the end of the day. To me, that out of that list, I think Duggar probably has the most chance of just making the team, even if it's, say Marte Mapu doesn't make the team and then they move Duggar into that, box linebacker role. Like, I don't think anybody would be mad at that. I've always valued Duggar's ability to stop the run and be a physical safety more than his coverage ability. So, I mean, if they can make something like that work, that'd be awesome. You'd have to think Bourne's making the team at this point, but there's just so many receivers now. Like, we went from not having any to now being like, oh, well, we can't get rid of this guy. We can't get rid of that guy. Yeah, I guess Duggar's just, to me, if I had to pencil something in, I just think Duggar's making the team.
Yeah. There are actually a couple players who I think could make the team. One of them being Del Pettis, considering that how much it was surprising that he did make the roster last season. And granted that he did get a sack on to Caleb Williams, that it just he made impressive plays on special teams and on the defense. So I can see Del Pettis making the roster. Another player, I think, I would say Caden Wallace, considering that we all initially thought that he would be a promising right tackle for the in place of Morgan Moses if Morgan goes down, but that's just because of how the coaching staff in the previous regime mishandled Caden Wallace. So I felt really bad for him. For the left guard, I think that he could be definitely like your future guard. He did take reps at guard for the backup offense, so I could see some of that if he can make the roster. So I could see Caden Wallace making the roster. And then the rest are all just bodies at this point. And then so basically you left off Duggar. Bourne is gonna be a 50-50. I love Bourne, but what can he stay healthy? That's the question, because I don't know what injury. I know he's still on that foot injury after that whole scrimmage or whatnot, but the definitely two candidates who I could see not making the team are Cole Strange and Javon Baker. Anthony Jennings, he's a 50-50 to me as well, because he could be a cut candidate because he doesn't fit the scheme. Unfortunately, he did look impressive these past two games, I would say, but he doesn't like fit the defense that Vrabel envisioned. So those are my candidates. But now let's get to some of your questions. And yeah, I can see Bourne getting traded back to San Francisco if there's zero clue of like what to do with Kendrick Bourne. Also, DPF makes a really good point about Kendrick Bourne that I didn't think about. You can save $6 million on Kendrick Bourne. Maybe to clear some cap space. I didn't think about cap space, but also, Thomas, there is a question for you from the chat. Do you think Julian Edelman should be our wide receivers coach for the New England Patriots?
No. What Paperweight said, I don't think that Julian Edelman would ever intend to be a coach.
Yeah, I would see Julian Edelman more doing podcasting and the media than doing coaching. Like, he has his own podcast. He has the Games with Names with some of his friends. And then you have Dudes on Dudes, where he's doing a podcast with former tight end Ron Gronkowski, who I think is definitely going to make the Patriots Hall of Fame. I would be shocked if he doesn't. And he's also as an analyst for Fox Sports. So
yeah, I'm happy for Gronk to still have that job on Fox.
Both Edelman and Gronk. So
yeah, honestly, two of our best players on that team.
Yep. But that's going to be it for today's live stream. I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to say it for all of the panelists here. I unfortunately apologize for some of the comments we made to you fans. I think you're some of the greatest viewers you have ever watched. It's just that it's just sometimes our mind gets a little frazzled here and there. So we didn't mean it, but it's just been crazy these past few days. It's not like the best, I would say, but hey, just forgive us. We promise that the content's going to get better. The season's about to get started sooner or later, but I'm just basically talking to the fans that after the whole comment about like to tell certain fans to shut up after the whole Dick's comment. So that was really wrong on our end, but there was a bit of tomfoolery around. So I just want to take that handle. And besides, we're doing this YouTube channel as a hobby. It's not like we're doing this for as a job. So we're just doing this for fun. It's not like the end of the world. And besides, we got some future content we have in the future that we are. When Andy comes back from his vacation, we're doing a 53-minute roster reaction once the Tuesday cutdowns start to happen. And then Tyler, who is the mod right now, who is in the chat right now, he is going to be leading this whole Will Campbell film breakdown that you should be all anticipated for. So I hope you guys are really excited for that. And that's gonna be it for today's live stream. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you smash the like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free and helps to support the channel in a massive way. And leave in a comment down below what your thoughts on the game, thoughts on the roster cutdowns, potential like players who could be candidates to be cut or traded. And as always, go Pats.
Go Pats.
Go Pats.